Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, some oil marketing firms commence reduction in prices of petroleum products at the pumps, with Guel selling a litre of petrol at 14 cedis 16 pesos, diesel going for 14 cedis 70 pesos per litre. Also coming up, more than 600 businesses removed from register of companies for failing to file annual returns, as over 8,000 are also set for a similar move by the end of this month. Plus, government spends almost 40 billion cedis more than revenue raised for first half of this year, as concerns go over the country's rising debts and checking budget overruns in an election year. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. All right, also you look at the currency market as we begin another week. Let's start with fuel. Some oil marketing firms have started reducing prices of petroleum products at the pumps. Guel has taken the lead and is selling a litre of petrol at 14 cedis 16 pesos. This actually represents a 6 peso reduction from the old price. Diesel has also gone down by 20 pesos. It's selling at 14 cedis 70 pesos. Market watchers are linking the reduction to the slowdown in the rate of depreciation of the cedi and prices of crude oil stabilizing on the international market. Now, checks with some of the oil marketing firms also showed that many more are expected to adjust their prices at the pumps in the coming days. So let's talk about this. Joining me on Zoom, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, energy strategist, also chief executive of Eureka Energy Solutions. Good afternoon to you. What's your reading on the decline in prices we're witnessing at the pumps?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, Darryl, and to your cherished viewers and listeners in Ghana and across the globe. Yeah, so indeed that's a welcoming one, and I will not waste my time to send a good commendation. To the market leaders for taking this giant step once again to come down with the prices as the market dictates. Now, but why are the prices coming down, Darryl? We have a lot of factors that could have been accountable for why the market is taking the downward trend, which is good, of course, for the consumer. But largely, a lot of it has to do with international dynamics that is playing out here. If you notice, as we speak now, WTI is trading below the lower 70s. It's around 73. Brent also, which is our major benchmark, is also trading within the upper 70s. They went to 80, but they came back. Why they came back is a couple of factors. Number one, the manufacturing data that we are getting from China. China is of course rocking with when it comes to petroleum product consumption. China is just undoubtedly the number one petroleum product importer. So if the manufacturing data from China is showing a bit sluggish, then that will have impact on demand. And that's actually why we have the global prices, both petroleum products and crude oil prices, taking the downward trajectory. The second major reason is the OPEC cut. OPEC is threatening to unwind the supply cuts that they had. And if you remember the last time I told you, I mentioned that OPEC has been threatened on two fronts. One, their market share. The other one is profitability, and they are not ready to lose the two. So they are given a huge threat that they will unwind the supply cut that they put in place. Unwinding the supply cut means we're going to have some supply, a lot of supply gluts, semblance of supply gluts, and that will actually outweigh demand, and that will end up bringing down the price. The final reason is the geopolitical tensions, which is still on the horizon but hasn't come to fruition. If you notice what is going on, the retaliation hasn't happened. That was a huge premium that was within the horizon, and that hasn't come to play. So a couple of, the aggregate of these factors is what is accountable for why we have this downward trend, Darryl.
The Middle East conflict, that was a real concern, wasn't it? We've been speaking about it in the last couple of months and its potential impact on pricing, as well as the city's performance. Well, the rate of depreciation has slowed down. Are these still risks that we should be concerned about?
Yeah, so we have to proceed with caution, but every single reduction we have to celebrate it. And for the fact that I mean, we are having this consistent reduction within the following windows, and that's a very good thing. So I'm saying we should proceed with caution because of the fact that I would have wished the cedi impact would have been felt. And you rightly pointed out that it is slow depreciation, not appreciation. If assuming the cedi was trading around 14, or 15, let's say, the impact would have been much more significant. However, the slow depreciation is what we also have to, commend. I mean, celebrate about that. At least we are not having that upward trajectory, but there's a slow in depreciation. 15 to 16 is still on the high side on the cedi side. So yes, and then the Middle East also, like I mentioned, cool heads are coming to prevail. I think the powers that may the powers that are available, on both sides are bringing the warring factions to stable mode. And I told you that. I mean, there's no benefit. Nobody's going to benefit when this war escalates. So I think there's a lot of miscalculation that has happened, and I think it's not in the best interest of anybody, especially for US. Their coming elections also, they wouldn't like the gasoline prices to skyrocket. So I predicted that they will bring a lot of huge, influence to bear to ensure that crude oil prices or petroleum product prices doesn't escalate. And also even US, they are producing a lot as we speak now. So as they are producing a lot and China demand is also coming down, that is helping to stabilize the market. But it's early days yet. We just have to proceed with caution, Darrell.
I want to touch briefly on LPG. There's a marginal upward adjustment in prices of about 2%. What's happening on that front?
So that's a very interesting one. So one would have been expecting that. I mean, once crude oil prices are dropping, we should have gotten some substantial drop in most of these petroleum product prices, especially LPG, which is also one of the derivatives or chain that is gotten from crude oil. For LPG case, I think it's just the taxes that have been put onto the product prices that is impacting it. And I believe if probably the government or the policymakers of the day can revisit the huge amount of taxes on LPG, I think it will help. I know it's going to be very difficult at this point in time, but I think that's the only credible conduit to getting LPG, penetration or to getting LPG prices under control. Other than that, international dynamics is not that bad, but it's just our local dynamics, that is impacting the price at which the LPG is being sold. And the only thing that we can do, I think, if we can revisit the amount of taxes that we have on this kind of products, that will help a lot, Darrell.
Keep watching the markets for us. Thank you so much. Dr. Isi Sulemana, the energy strategist, also Chief Executive of Eureka Energy Solutions. I appreciate your time with us on the marketplace. Well, let's turn to other news now. And more than 600 businesses have finally been removed from the register of companies at the end of June this year for failing to file their annual returns after several warnings. There's more in this Business Desk report.
The 620 is the total number of all categories, businesses and enterprises that the Office of the Registrar of Companies has taken this action against. The registrar in a statement maintained that out of this number, 420 formally came forward that they will no longer do business, so they should be removed. But the registrar wants to put out these names to ensure that if these firms are indebted to anyone out there, the necessary payments will be done before dissolution. Some of the firms on the list include Unilever Investments and Unilever Foundation, security firms 4GS and shipping line Maersk Supply Service West Africa. The registrar also announced that another set of 8,000 businesses will be removed by the end of this month if they also fail to file their annual returns. Based on the action taken by the Registrar of Companies, firms that are removed from the list cannot do business in the country for the next 12 years unless it is directed by the law court to do so. The Registrar of Companies has put out the full list on its website for public scrutiny. Meanwhile, the registrar has also announced that it will start enforcing an administrative penalty of 1,000 Ghana cedis from October 1 for firms that fail to file their annual returns.
Now, government spent almost 40 billion Ghana cedis more than revenue raised in the first 7 months of the year. This was captured in government's fiscal operations update for the first half of 2024. George Afe has more.
Based on Ghana's program with the IMF and the 2024 budget, government was hoping to spend 35.7 billion Ghana cedis more than revenue mobilized ending July this year. However, this amount ballooned to 39.6 billion Ghana cedis when it comes to the budget deficit on a cash basis. But this shouldn't be put in isolation and is always dependent on the revenue raised. The fiscal data revealed the total revenue and grants stood at 89.4 billion Ghana cedis. When the finance minister presented the 2024 budget in November last year, he indeed programmed that there will be a deficit. However, government missed this target, a development that has raised concerns about its ability to check its expenditure from getting out of hand, especially during this election season.
A bit more on this. Joining us on Zoom, Dr. Samam Ka, Senior Finance Lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. I appreciate your time. Good afternoon. How concerning are these figures and what risks do they pose?
Thank you very much, Darren. Thank you and good afternoon to the listeners. This is very worrying and very disturbing for us to not get the needed amount of revenue, but we are overspending. Already we are with the IMF. If we are still overspending and government is not working within the financial constraints they find themselves in, then we are in for a big trouble. And the necessary action on government to rationalize its spending and ensure that there is value for money in the construction works that are going around all over the country, that will work much better for us.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the IMF, which is supposed to be a check on us, like a big brother. We've also had government talk about, for instance, putting in place some technology which will help track spending, monitor expenditure, and all of that. What checks do they have to put in place, really? What can they do about this?
Yeah, so the IMF came out with the policy that we have, and their support is a budget support that we have, which means that government will have to spend the money in accordance with the budget that we have read in 2024, that is November 2023. And so once we have that particular budget, IMF responsibility is to ensure that the monies that they have released to the government of Ghana, we are using it as planned in the budget. As to the contract awards and the rest, they may not be able to track it if government is not open to them. It is on us that we are in difficult situations, and for that matter, we need to live within the budget that we have prepared for ourselves. The unfortunate aspect for us this year is that we are in an election year, and so government will be focused on winning votes and retaining power. And for that reason, in order to undertake projects that will make the population assume that they are doing their best to win the vote, they are overspending, and that is not too good for us. And that will go a long way to affect the next IMF review that we're going to have in the country.
Seems confident they're on track to meeting whatever targets the IMF have set for a review. But I'm just saying, is it too late to do something about this, about our expenditure going over the roof as not raising enough revenue? Is there anything we can really do about it right now?
Yes, it is not too late. We still have some 3 months to go. We are in September, so we have some 3 or 4 months to go. And so those 4 months, the little that we can salvage in terms of contract awards, in terms of getting value for money, in ensuring that the projects that we are doing are very essential so that we can maintain economic stability that we we find ourselves in now. We have not recovered fully from the COVID pandemic, and we have issues of drought and then food security coming in. If we are not able to ensure that we manage our finances prudently, then we are going to go back to the same situation.
We are losing you gradually, so we'll leave the conversation there. Thank you so much, Dr. Samam Ka, Senior Finance Lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. We will continue the conversation the other time. I mean, the other point I wanted to raise was about the fact that the government has started work on 2025 annual expenditure estimates for the first 3 months of next year. You know, there will be an election, a new administration is going to take over, and so this is supposed to provide some leeway for government spending during the period, and just wanted his considerations on that. We'll continue that conversation another time. You're watching The Marketplace, the financial markets update up next. So for 2 consecutive months, the government missed its target for Treasury bills as liquidity remained tight on the money market. According to auction results from the Bank of Ghana, the government's target fell by 991.61 million cedis. Here's more in this report.
Target for the auction was 5.088 billion cedis, but the government got 4.094 billion cedis. Some analysts have attributed the shortfall by some banks' preparation to shore up their capital. All the bets tendered for the short-term securities were accepted. The uptake for the 91-day bill was 2.532 billion cedis, representing 61.84% of the total bids. The bids tendered for the 182-day were estimated at 1.357 billion. That of the 182-day bill was 205.23 million cedis. Meanwhile, interest rates went up across the yield curve. The yield on the 91-day bill increased by 10 basis points to 24.88%. Also, the interest on the 182-day bill shot up to 26.78% from the previous weeks of 26.68%.
On the stock market, there is an expected mixed performance on the Ghana Stock Exchange this week. Let's hear from Grace Munayan of Data Bank Research on how your stocks are likely to fare.
Six trading concluded on a positive note, incited by price gains in 4 equities. The stocks were New Gold, Ben's Oil Palm Plantation, Total Energies, and Camelot Ghana. As a result, the Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index increased by 0.15% weekly, the year-to-date gain of 39.28%, whereas the Data Bank Stock Index gained 0.17% weekly, the year-to-date gain of 36.06%. Weekly turnover advanced by 6 times to 6.8 million Ghana cedis after exchanging 1.5 million shares across 24 counters. New Gold top trading with 92% of the total turnover. This week, we expect the share price of Total Energies to rise further, while Standard Chartered Bank declines as it's expected to trade ex-dividend. For Joy Business Reports, Grace Munayan of Data Bank Research.
Thanks, Grace. Now, the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana is asking insurers to value their assets amidst the exchange rate volatilities. President of the Institute, Solomon Lati, said a proper value assessment of assets is key to protecting the interests of insurers for unforeseen circumstances. He spoke to Joy Business at the 2024 Insurance Excellence Awards.
The Insurance Excellence Awards sought to promote the growth of the insurance industry through progressive competition, innovation, and adherence to the highest professional standards. Mr. Latte urged Ghanaians to take advantage of insurance.
Good question. So the thing about insurance is if you insure in dollar, we'll pay your claims in dollar. If you insure in CD, we'll pay your claim in CD. So if you have, so it's up to you as an individual or a company to always value your assets. If you live in an economy where the currency is volatile, like where we are, and even if you have a life insurance company, you should always revalue the sum insured or the assets. Look at it today, if I have insured my car for, let's say, 100,000 cedis, if my car is involved in an accident and they pay me that 100,000 cedis, will I be able to buy that car again? No. So you have to reassess the value of your car, make sure that if it's 160,000 or whatever, put that value there. Insurance will charge you a little more premium, but it is to your advantage that you value your asset properly, pay the right premiums, and when there's a loss, insurance will pay you the right claims.
Insurance Professional of the Year and Managing Director for Enterprise Life Assurance Company, Jacqueline Bain, entreated Ghanaians to invest in insurance.
Insurance is something everyone needs. Once you are born, you are faced with the double hazards of life. It's either you live long or you die early. These are all risks that you face, and therefore you need to have life insurance in your portfolio, your financial planning portfolio. It's very important. I just want to encourage Ghanaians. Life insurance is great. It should be part of everything you do, because this is the greatest love letter you can ever leave your family.
This year's event was under the theme Excellence in a Customer-Centric Profession.
Meanwhile, the Young Insurance Professionals is asking young people and students to take advantage of various insurance products. Here's one of the winners at this year's CIIG Excellence Awards, Neda Santi Jr.
Insurance is a very broad institution, but some people just take it as insurance is just for motor vehicle, but we have a lot of things in insurance. So those young people outside, don't say if you go to the insurance company, you won't get any work. You'll be going around markets looking for clients, or be going around market to sell your claims. There are a lot of things in insurance that we don't even know, but the little I have, or the little knowledge they've impacted in me, has made me see there are a lot in insurance. So I would encourage everyone, those in the university right now, you can choose that as your major course in your university.
Final story this afternoon. One of the factors impeding revenue mobilization in the country is inability to capture those within the tax bracket. Addressing this challenge, which has existed for years, the Ghana Revenue Authority is initiating programs and devising strategies to encourage payment of tax. Accra East Area Director of the Domestic Tax Revenue Division of the authority, Joseph Asari, disclosed this at a sensitization event at Tema. Here's more from correspondent Kwame Anka.
Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, as a way of strengthening existing relationships and forging new ones, has identified civil society groups, religious bodies, traders, among others, as key stakeholders in its tax drive. GRA believes getting closer to them will enable the authority take concerns and feedback and address them appropriately. Accra East Director of the Domestic Tax Revenue Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Joseph Asari, says GRA has introduced online payment, e-invoicing, and others to ensure convenience and compliance.
The first is to identify with them. And then when we identify with them, we create a platform for them to also leverage on and then come to us. You realize that all the conversation was about visit our offices. We will also come to your end. It is a collaboration we are trying to build and aim at ensuring that there is a peaceful relationship so that whatever concerns they have, we will be able to address. And then when they understand, they will be able to pay the taxes. And you can't agree with me that these days taxpayers do not walk to our offices to file and pay. We pay online, we file online. Tax clearance certificate, which used to be accessed from the office. Now on the portal, you should be able to access your tax clearance certificate and a lot more.
Vice Chair of the Tema Central Market, Philip Che, encouraged all traders to fulfill their tax obligation to help develop the country.
The can say nipa biara no wo wi ase no won twa tax and na o man kura won ka ho ene oba ko school oba fa ha ni nyina ye tax ya.
How do you expect the government to build schools, roads, and address other challenges if you don't pay tax? I will urge GRA to reach all corners with the education to ensure compliance. GRA needs to explain to taxpayers, be it here or at home, that their contribution is towards national development. Etisia J, who runs a convenience shop, is ready to pay tax but is unhappy over the pliable road network in areas including Washington in the Kponkatamansu municipality.
Income tax now. By year's time, results because
the issue is not only about payment. I'm worried over the number of fees being paid to Tema Metropolitan Assembly, which negatively impacts business. We are ready to pay tax and must see development. GRA has deferred tax payment to next year. Office Manager, Taxpayer Service Center for Tema Community 1, Lydia Owusu-Banahene, pointed out that the education was really needed as it enabled them explain modified taxation to the traders. She says, as a way of cushioning taxpayers when COVID-19 struck, payment was suspended, and returning to pre-COVID in terms of payment seems new to some traders. GRA encouraged taxpayers to access services through short code *222#. The event was in two parts, tax education and health screening at Community 1 Main Lorry Terminal.
Kwame Anka bringing us that report. That's the marketplace. Thanks for watching, everyone. There is more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. More on the stories we've been bringing you this afternoon. Fuel price reduction, petrol going for 14 cedi 16 pesos, diesel 14 cedi 70 pesos a litre, and T-bills auction, government misses target again. Interest rates shoot up. myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time tomorrow.